In a record-breaking career full of firsts, it's rare to see Roger Federer break records even when he isn't playing. At 40, Federer hasn't featured on the ATP Tour since his loss to Hubert Hurkacz in the quarterfinals of Wimbledon. But he's had a first that he probably wouldn't have wanted. We'll be taking a look at that and some exciting news from the tennis world. First up, Federer is officially unranked. This is a big deal, we get it, but we're also not surprised. The legendary Swiss maestro hasn't featured on the ATP Tour in over a year, and the new ranking system isn't exactly kind anymore. But maybe it's fair too. Most Novak Djokovic fans will tell you that Federer should have been out of the rankings a long time ago. And, well, it's safe to say that the ranking system comes under a lot of scrutinies. We don't want to start a debate, but apparently Nadal has points from a tournament he won almost 2 years ago, but Noel didn't get any points from his Wimbledon triumph. However, Federer losing points is still a massive deal, all things considered. It doesn't mean much for his career aspirations, as we can say with certainty that he won't be fighting for the #1 spot again. Actually, no, scratch that. We never said that. We don't want to write him off. No one should ever write him off. But maybe what we're trying to say is that Federer will surely return to the big events, but that there's a good chance he might not linger long enough to make a case for a #1 ranking. It's unlikely is what it is. So you may ask, what's the big deal if it doesn't change much for his aspirations? First of all, it's huge, because this has happened to him for the first time in his career. We get it. It's not because he's past it, and he can still easily beat most of the top players, but this is not a first that you want. Secondly, it's going to have a huge impact on the kind of opponents he faces once he does return to the tour later this year. So when was the last time this happened? Oh, that's a tough question. There are many fun ways of answering it, but perhaps the only way we can truly capture just how dominant Federer has been, we'll take a look at what was happening in the world the last time this happened. It's safe to say that we had no idea that smartphones could ever exist. Not impressed? Well, we can say with a lot of authority that on average, most of the viewers of this video weren't even born the last time Federer was unranked. Yeah, Team 2000s, it happened way before you lot were conceived. In fact, the last time FedEx was unranked, the biggest star in the male tennis world was probably Pete Sampras. So when was it exactly? A 16-year-old baby-faced Roger Federer appeared in the ATP rankings for the first time in September of 1997. He'd go on to win 20 Grand Slams and over 100 ATP titles in a glorious career, but finds himself unranked a quarter of a century later. Majority of the players don't remain competitive for that long, but somehow Federer has remained among the top best for 25 years, and we've got no doubt that he's got one last hurrah left in him when he rejoins the tour in his hometown of Basel. But what does Federer think about it? Yeah, he's unranked while there are well over 2,000 players that are ranked. It definitely can't be a sight that pleases Federer, so what does he think about it? We're sure he's not freaking out at home and getting angry at all this. It's due to an injury. A fully fit Roger can still beat anyone, so he's probably not fretting over this news. However, after a long and successful career, it seems that the 20-time Grand Slam champion knows that there's not a lot left in the tank. Talking about his life, Federer explained how tennis isn't a priority anymore. He added that as much as he loved winning, he knows that it's the right time to bow out when you're not competitive at the top level anymore. We all knew that much. The best players in a generation won't stick around and lose just to play. They play to win, and when they're not doing that, it's best to call it a day. But even though we knew that, it's different and more painful hearing the maestro himself say it. What do you mean tennis isn't a priority? We're sure he'll reconsider when he makes a return to the tour and sees fans going crazy. It's adorable to see Federer saying that he doesn't need tennis, and he's happy doing the little things with his children, and we couldn't be happier. From a selfish perspective, we'd love to see him play forever, forever. But because we adore the man so much, we know just how hard Mirka has worked to ensure that Federer doesn't have to worry about his personal issues. Maybe a final hurrah isn't that bad a thing if he's going back home and preparing one of his twins to take up the mantle. And now, in other news. First, Serena joins Federer in an all-time career low. It might be a bit of a relief for Roger that he's not the only one becoming unranked, as Serena Williams joins him in losing her ranked status as a tennis player. Serena Williams and Roger Federer dominated the tennis scene for decades, and it marks the first year since 1999 that at least one of them won't be in the top 100. Yeah, the 21st century hasn't seen a year until 2022 when Federer or Serena weren't among the very best in the world, and that's as insane as it gets. However, Mama Smash's case is slightly different from Federer, as she got done badly by the ATP because she didn't appear in the main draw of Wimbledon and won't be ranked because of their decision to strip ranking points from the major because of the player banning fiasco. Again though, we've got no doubts that both of them will be back playing for the highest honors soon enough. Serena's fit already, and we can't wait to see her back in action for the final major of the year, the US Open. For Federer, it's all about managing fitness, but he's aiming for a return to Basel. Next up, Thiem wins first match since 2021. It seems like the month of firsts in the ATP, doesn't it? We knew we'd be making headlines about Dominic Thiem winning an ATP match, but life can amount to crazy things. The 2020 US champion, Thiem, hasn't won a match on tour since Rome in 2021, and it took him 14 months to finally record his first win as he continues his journey back to the top. The 28-year-old is one of the most promising prospects in the sport, and part of the next gen who couldn't properly arrive at the scene because of the Big Three's domination. However, he's still incredibly happy with his first win and understands the importance of small steps. Thiem's struggles with injuries have been tough to see as fans because it's always heartbreaking to see talent go to waste because of unforeseen circumstances. He's a tough cookie, so we can expect him to be back challenging for the biggest championships very soon. Then, Cerundolo shocks #1 seed, joy for Schwartzman. The Nordea Open in Sweden is keeping some of the Wimbledon disappointments busy. Casper Ruud, after an impressive run at the French Open, was shocked by Hugo Humbert in the second round of Wimbledon. As a result, he signed up for the Nordea Open, an ATP 250 event, but experienced a similar result to his Wimbledon disappointment. Argentina's Francisco Cerundolo defeated the #1 seed over 3 sets in the first round of the event. It was a poor display from the world's #5, who could only convert 2 of 11 breakpoint opportunities. Diego Schwartzman's win over local Swedish hero Elias Ymer completed an Argentine double in the first round, as we could have a staggering 4 quarterfinalists from Argentina. Of course, it won't be easy, because Baez faces #8 seed Davidovich Fokina, and Rublev will be facing Coria. Lastly, Andy Murray's dominant win over Sam Querrey. In Rhode Island, some of the other tennis stars are taking part as they look to extend their grass season by playing one more tournament. It includes the likes of Felix Auger-Aliassime, John Isner, and Andy Murray, but making the headlines was the Brit who overcame the big serving American Sam Querrey, losing only 2 games on Tuesday. After losing to a big serving American in Wimbledon, Murray returned the favor by handing local star Querrey a defeat in the Infosys Hall of Fame Open. He breezed past the challenge posed by the 34-year-old and is looking pretty good as he prepares to take on Alexander Bublik of Kazakhstan in the quarterfinals on Friday. Of course, there are still some big names left in the tournament, but could Murray finally win another ATP title? That's a wrap for this video. Do you think Federer has one last Grand Slam left in him? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.